Fundamentals of story: plot, character, and structure. It's probably best to begin with the basics of what a story is, before diving into how to make them interactive. Story is made up of three elements: the plot, the characters, and the structure. Writing is a strange balancing act between these three, and each is integral to the other. Plot, for example, should not be something that happens to your characters, but driven by their decisions, by their wants and needs, and is most commonly expressed in a linear structure. A situation arises, the character decides between several potential courses of action, which leads them to the next situation and the next decision, and so on. But the events of a story do not always need to be linear in time. We can mix it up, especially if that makes for more satisfying twists and surprises, or reveals a deeper understanding and connection to the story. Playing with structure in this way, changing up the order of things, can help you explore your plot and characters in a new light, and it is a very useful tool while writing. Writers, especially of film, talk about doing the cards. This is where each scene, each beat of your story, is written on an index card. This way you can see the structure of your story and easily move it around, and add or remove scenes. One thing that should always be linear, however, regardless of structure, is the emotional journey of the characters, and therefore the audience. The emotional beats should always head in one direction, ebbing and flowing between different emotions, but always building on what's gone before. Characters should be driving the story, not being buffeted about and dragged along by the plot. Your protagonist should be making the hard decisions, for good or ill, that pushes the plot forwards, and these decisions should be shaped by their wants and needs. Wants can be defined as what your character consciously strives for and desires. It's the surface goals that they believe will make their lives, or the lives of others, better. In tragedies and comedies, however, it is often the opposite of what they truly need. A character's needs can be defined as what they unconsciously require to grow and change, what will truly make their lives or those of others better. Whether a character achieves or sees beyond their wants, comes to understand, accept, or even meet their needs, will decide on the tone of a story. On whether the story has an up or downbeat ending, whether real change is achieved, for the better or worse. A good introduction to this is reading Joseph Campbell's The Hero's Journey. This approach sees the protagonist leave their world behind, usually to challenge seemingly insurmountable odds, learn their own strengths and weaknesses while facing their own mortality, only to return to their world to find they have changed and outgrown their home. A more modern and feminist approach, put forward by Kim Hudson in The Virgin's Promise, reframes elements of the hero's journey as ultimately changing the viewpoint of the protagonist and that of others to enable their worldview an invaluable lesson to be heard and accepted not only by themselves, but by the community at large. Both of these approaches sit well within three-act structure, which sees its inception as far back as Aristotle's ideas around a play having a beginning, a middle, and an end, and more recently, Sidfield's ideas of setup, confrontation, and resolution in their book Screenplay. It's well worth reading up about three-act structure, about act breaks, midpoints, and opening and closing imagery. Alongside Sidfield's, Kim Hudson, and Joseph Campbell, reading Blake Snyder's Save the Cat is another good foundation for writing. These and other books are attached as a reading list to this class. Alongside this, as Kurt Vonnegut suggests for writing prose, good stories should always be advancing the plot or revealing character. Each paragraph, each sentence even, should propel the reader forwards or provide insight. And this is equally applicable in other mediums, whether that is film or theatre, or in this case, interactive storytelling. Reading about writing, consuming stories across a variety of mediums, and, of course, creating your own, will help you not only understand the language and grammar of stories, but how to play with them and ultimately become a better writer.